Hi everyone, this video will cover the Chapter 3 quiz review that Algebra 1B students received in class today. Your quiz is tomorrow, which is Thursday, October 3rd. In this first video, I think I'll probably just be getting through 1 through 5. I'm sorry, I'll be doing 1 through 5 on this video. Okay, so the first one is pretty straightforward. It just wants you to graph a line. I want you to graph this line right here. And remember, to graph a line, you need two pieces of information. You need the slope, which is m, and the y-intercept, which is b. And you always start at the y-intercept, which is the b value. So on this graph, my b value is 1. I'm going to go over here and put a dot on 1. And now my slope is negative 2 over 3, which gives me my rise and my run, but I get a lot of questions when fractions are negative. Remember that a negative fraction could be written with the negative on top, or it could be written with the negative on bottom, but you don't want to put the negative on both. Okay, so you wouldn't want to call this negative 2 and negative 3. You have to pick one place to put the negative. So if I went with this first option, my rise is negative 2, which means from here I want to go down 2. And then my run is 3, so I went down 2, and now I want to go to the right, positive 3, and that's where my next dot would go. Okay. Had I chosen this option, my rise would have been positive 2. So from here I would have gone up 2, but then my run would be negative 3, which would take me back 3. And my point would end up right there, which, as you can see, would still fall in a straight line with the other points. So that's why it doesn't matter which way you go with that slope. Had you made them both negative, though, your line would point the wrong way. And then you just want to connect those points with a straight line. Okay, and that's graphing that linear equation. Now let's look at 2 through 4. This is way easier than it looks. The line y equals 6, what that is really saying is that if I were to think of this as a set of points, as an xy table, the x could be anything, but the y has to be 6. Okay? So these are the ones where you can make up anything for x as long as your y value is 6. So, I don't know, x could be 2, or x could be negative 5. X could be 1054, I don't care. X can be anything you want as long as y is 6. So for 2 coordinates, I'm going to use the 2 that I just came up with, which would be 2, 6, and negative 5, 6. But really, I would accept anything, 6. Okay, slope and y-intercept. That line, y equals 6, that's a horizontal line. So if you're not sure, just remember that a horizontal line always has a slope of 0, and then the y-intercept would have to be 6. But the other way you could think about that is to take that line and rewrite it as y equals 0x plus 6. So all I really did there was insert a 0x, okay, because there are 0 x's there. So again, then the m value would be 0, and the b value would be 6. Slope, y-intercept. Okay, domain and range. Remember, domain is asking, what is x allowed to be? Well, do you remember back here? Didn't I tell you that x could be anything? So remember, mathematically, if x can be anything, that means that your domain is all real numbers. And there's the symbol for all reals, or you could write it out in words. The range is talking about what is y allowed to be. Okay, so the range here is saying what is y? Well, we said back here that y has to be 6. It can't be anything else. So your range is just 6. Okay, let's look at number 5. True or false? Y equals 1/3 x plus 7 is parallel to y equals negative 3x plus 7. Okay, the key thing here is that these lines are parallel, which means that their slopes would have to be the same. These equations are both written in slope-intercept form. So I can compare the slopes really easily. Slope here is 1/3, slope here is -3. Those are not the same. So because the slopes are not the same, I would call this false. Okay? Now, you'll have to be careful because on your quiz, there's a possibility that the equations are not written in slope-intercept form for you, which means that you can't just compare the slopes. You would have to rearrange them, solve for y, get y by itself, and then decide if the slopes are the same or not. Okay, 6 and 7 I'm going to do in a separate video because probably they're the hardest questions on this quiz review, and so I know some of you may want to just look at 6 and 7 separately. So if you're looking for 6 and 7, head back to the website and there should be a separate video posted there. Thanks.